Welcome to the Stretch Run Belmont Preview Show. We'll be previewing the Graded Stakes races Friday and Saturday at Belmont at Saratoga. We've got three guests tonight: Rachel McLaughlin, Katie Davis, and the 2022 NHC champ David Harrison. I'm joined tonight by Justin Sampson and the oldie capper Michael Oldham. Gentlemen, let's get right to it. Let's welcome in Rachel. Rachel McLaughlin. Rachel is the racing analyst and production manager for Horseshoe Indiana, and according to her X profile, the spokesperson for Family Leisure. She's an animal lover and a proud mama. Rachel, how you doing?
Hey, yeah, sum me up. First time somebody's read my X bio, so yeah, thanks.
Well, we'd like to welcome you in here. We've got somewhat of an agenda to talk to you about tonight. I think as I get over to there. So tell us about Horseshoe Indiana and where your passion from horse racing, handicapping, and being an analyst came from.
Well, I was just a horse crazy girl. I think I'm one of, I don't even know another woman analyst who isn't either married to a trainer, has a dad trainer, or some other man that's in her life. Not that I'm downing anyone or anything, but I literally just was like a lot of other degenerates. I loved horses. My grandpa taught me how to read a program at Henderson at Hoosier Park, and it kind of fell in my lap. I was an intern at Hoosier Park, and I was good at the TV part. So they said they kind of made me a handicapper, and then it snowballed from there. And now I do the production and sponsorships and social media. So I just love it. I fell in love with the people and the sport, and obviously the horses are my favorite part.
Yeah. So and we've been following your program. We're now covering Horseshoe Indiana races on our Saturday program, which is super cool. So thanks to Horseshoe Indiana for making that happen for us. You've got an all turf pick 3 bet out there, kind of modeled after the Keeneland one. How's that been going for you guys?
It's good. I was just sitting out here with somebody that hit it for $2K tonight. And yeah, love to see it. And a couple of $15 horses. It was pretty sweet. So yeah, it's been pretty popular. We're not going to have it on Saturday, but we do have I forgot to text Justin, but we have a carryover on the late pick 5 of 38,000 for Saturday. So that'll be something in between the Belmont races. Yeah, for you guys to, play this Saturday. We start at 10:55. I think Eric kind of changed it a little bit to accommodate to stay off of the other tracks. So yeah, that's been really popular. I love it. I think it's really fun to do the like particular race wagers like that. And even when we've done cross track wagers like that, I think the players really like it.
Yeah, well, kudos to Eric for figuring things out and how not to run off of everybody, because
it's hard. You know what? And I know what Eric would say. It's Rob Wessner is a genius, and he's our mutual manager, and he is and Eric trusts him, and they talk back and forth and they look at everything. But it's almost like being writing races. I mean, it's like a thankless job. You might stay off someone else and then another one. So we try our best, because I know, players really like that.
Well, yeah, it annoys us when we have like 3 going off at the same time. We got to do try box. We are not that particular Sunday show that are equipped to do that. We have meager means. Indiana Derby this year, another good success. I think I remember us watching it before we had it and wagers on that. So is that still a good success?
July 6th, right? July 6th? Yeah.
It's going to be July 6th at noon. And yeah, it has been super successful. I think ever since Eric kind of took the helm, he's changed it to an afternoon post, and they've really catered it and moved it. It used to be in October. When I first started, it was at Hoosier Park, and it was at night, and it was in October. And when we moved it to July, it was like the perfect kind of prep race for some of the Matt Winn later, stakes. So it's really been good. The Oaks is what has been come up salty like the last 3 years. I mean, I was just talking to Ricky Giannini. We had what is it? She raced the Devil, or who's that Brad Cox horse that won? I just had it in my brain. Looking at too many races. But anyways, She Dares the Devil.
Yes.
Won it, and then won the Kentucky Derby. And so the Oaks and the Derby have just come up stacked. So super excited this year. Can't wait to see who comes. Can't wait to see everybody, and hoping for a huge day. We've broke records year after year after year. So
yeah, that's awesome. I think Justin's got a question for you about the NHC.
So, I see you at NHC the last couple of years, and EquinEdge has been really trying to link into NHC. David Harrison will be on in a little bit, former champion of just a couple of years ago. I met David. I spent a lot of time with him, Rachel, when I was here, when I was at NHC this past year. Awesome individual.
Such a great guy.
He is absolutely incredible, and he will be awesome tonight for viewers and everybody.
He will be. He was one of my first interviews, and so whenever I see him the last 2 years, I was just, because you always want to interview last year's winner, and whenever I see him walking down the hall, I didn't get a chance to really talk to him this year. I got to. It's hard because I'm trying to get interviews and I'm talking to everybody, and I see you guys and I see the Equibase people I know, Dave Weaver and everybody, and I never get to talk to that man. He's such a ray of sunshine. He reminds me a little bit of John Dooley. He's like always positive, super nice, and knows his stuff. So I'm super excited you guys get to talk to him. He's a really great guy.
And so I'd be curious. Rachel, you've been covering NHC in Vegas for a while, I know. So I'd be curious, like, from a horse player perspective, we have pari-mutuel pools, we have tournaments, we have cash, we have an NHC Win Place Mythical. What do you think, like, the importance of NHC is kind of to the horse player in the game, in the event, and everything? So I'd be curious to get your perspective.
Yeah, I've learned a lot since I've started doing that. The first year that I was there, I've been doing it for a couple of years now, and I'm telling you, I learned so much the first year. It was amazing. It's a completely different. I'm a track analyst, so I have to cater to the hardcore degenerates like you guys, but I also have to keep in mind, I love that term. It's like my favorite term, degenerates. But I also have to remember that there might be a kid that's younger than me that's got some disposable income that might be a little bit kind of turned off by the hardcore verbiage. So I try to skate that line. I think there's a couple different people, but the tournament play I think is so important. The amount of work and obsession. Yeah. Like, I mean, I was just sitting with these guys like for the last hour and a half handicapping these races that we're going to talk about. And, Mark was like, gosh, Rachel, you are a workaholic. And I'm like, you should see the guys that are handicapping for 11 hours. Like, I'm coming down to do interviews in the morning and they've already been there sitting, drinking coffee since 6 a.m. And there were some guys that I would interview at the end of the day and I would say, hey, I know we're almost done. Can I just talk to you about how I got to get upstairs? I got to start handicapping for tomorrow. And I just think that they are such an important part of our industry. Like, without these guys who like really dedicate their time and enjoy the sport and invest in it, we would be nowhere. I mean, what would we even do? So they're such a valuable part. And they're some of the best people. I always say, I mean, I'm a horse crazy girl, but the people are the best part of this industry. Like, everyone's super cool, super nice. And you might run into a jerk here and there, but for the most part, they're all great people.
So what's your most enjoyable NHC Vegas experience?
Appropriate story.
You can go
family program. Family.
I think honestly that my most memorable one. I can't even remember like the first year. It was such a blur. But this last year, it was is it Ricky, the Italian guy that was like, my mother makes a meatball for me on Sundays. Dude, the last day, him and I sat at the video poker at that big center bar, and he was so sweet. He was just really nice to me. He wasn't trying to like get my number or anything, which was cool. I appreciated that a lot. We played video poker and talked horses and life and everything. And him doing that bit where he was like, oh, every Sunday we go over, we blah, blah, blah. I think hanging out with him was really fun. And just being there with like all the guys who play every year, and they kind of, they fell in love with me, I feel like, last year, but then this year they like brought me into their group, and you can never learn enough in this industry. So I think kind of being like brought into their fold and then telling me stuff about it and being able to just get drunk and take shots and hang out with them was honestly one of my favorite like experiences of the whole thing is sort of when you're done and you get to, everybody's done with all the work and you get to really bond. So I think that was my favorite part.
We talk a lot about that. Chris, go ahead.
I can sympathize with you on that because I did the whole day as well on here, and it's a long day, man.
It is.
When you get done with that, I mean, the bourbon is flowing.
Yeah, and everybody's like they're done.
Yeah, that's it. And one other note in AHC is that it has achieved like a cult-like status. There's a lot of guys that go, they all sit at the same table every year.
Yep.
I hear their stories on this and that, and it is quite interesting. We all may be out there in March. That's TBD. We'll see what goes on. But let's get into the EquinEdge part of the discussion, Justin.
Well,
So
can I ask a quick? So,
Oldie, go ahead.
let me add as well, guys, that I will not be in a closet, a walk-in closet in a hotel in Grand Rapids, Michigan, broadcasting the NXT.
Okay,
like
I have
was
got
last
to
year.
hear this story. What do you mean you're in a closet broadcasting?
He was.
All right, so you guys can tell the story if you want to. So my daughter is a competitive all-star cheerleader.
Mine is too. She does competitive cheer.
Well,
Oh,
you
sweet.
got plenty to learn from Oldie and his daughter, Rachel.
How
And
old
you
is
are-
she?
So she just turned 18.
Oh,
This
so
was
she's
her-
serious. Okay, go on. So you're probably at a
So-
tournament.
So yeah, we're up in Grand Rapids, Michigan, which I call the Vegas of Michigan. But and we're at this hotel, and I told the guys when she's not competing, because she was competing on 4 teams, I think there. But when she's not competing, that I'll find a way to be on, and I'll broadcast with you guys. So we were in this really old. It's a Hilton, but it was a really old historic hotel, and they have these giant walk-in closets. And so I'm like, okay. I brought the chair. It's like
I love this.
like big giant chair from in the room into
Right.
the walk-in closet.
No way.
Used
I bet you got
my-
great
as
acoustics.
a
though.
desk. But yeah, so my daughter's been chairing for 13 years. She is going to chair at the University of Tampa next year.
Wow, congratulations to her. I'm not going to lie, being a cheer mom has been really hard for me. So maybe you could give me some pointers. I'm not exactly the kind of girl that is cheer. I'm more like dirty horses and chickens and shooting guns and throwing axes. So it's been a challenge for me to be a cheer mom. So if you or her mom have any advice, please shoot it over.
It sounds like Oldie needs your number.
Yeah.
All right. Let's
I
get,
want to point it out that was not me asking.
no, exactly. And then after he was done with all that, guess what Oldie did? He came out of the closet. All right. These jokes just write themselves.
Well done. Well done. That was well done.
Yeah, I mean, we set him up for that, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I love it.
All right.
Let's get
So
into
we're gonna talk Intercontinental, right, Rachel? We talked Intercontinental, and then we'll
And we'll do Belmont.
You're like, yeah, we'll talk Belmont at the end there. And your trackside, which is awesome at Indy.
Yeah, you guys want to see?
Yeah, that's incredible.
So this is our brand new awning. It was millions of doll hairs, hundreds of millions of doll hairs. And that's my family leisure furniture right there from the commercial I do.
Yeah.
And there's some of my degenerate friends sitting back there.
By the way,
it's a gorgeous spot, and I got a stage like for big days. So yeah, it's gorgeous, and they turned Churchill on for me on the jumbotron. So yeah, I'm chilling.
We don't handicap for 11 hours because we have EquinEdge. It does a lot of that for us.
Exactly.
So, Oldie, you want to pull up Intercontinental?
I have it right here for you guys. Just let me enlarge the screen before I bring it.
So, Rachel, one question I have for you, knowing that you use EquinEdge as we handicap this, how has EquinEdge helped you kind of with your handicapping game? I'd be curious to hear that as we talk the Intercontinental.
Right. So I honestly, what I love and when I handicap, I have found, and I just talked to Scotty about this like 2 days ago, I have literally found that I will handicap the entire card, and then I like to get on to look at like compare what I have handicapped to what I have, and it's always like spot on, literally almost exactly. The long shots, even sometimes the ones that I like are so close. But what I love is the GSR, the growth strength ratio. When you're handicapping, the hardest part is when you're handicapping a maiden that you have, 2-year-olds babies that haven't raced before. You don't really have a lot to go off of. I mean, you can get on DRF and you're whatever equibasing, you look up the dam and the sire and see what they've done, but it's only so much. I love that the GSR and the SOR when I'm handicapping those kind of races. I have found that even if it's a horse that's a really big long shot, the GSR is clutch. Also, I do like me and Scotty have also talked about this. There's not a bunch of handicapping tools for quarter horse, and I freaking love quarter horse. I love handicapping it. I've learned a lot from Justin likes that. I've learned a lot from Martha. Los Ponies taught me a lot when I first started because I've ridden lots of quarter horses. I haven't handicapped a lot of quarter horses. I learned about harness and thoroughbred when I started, but I've learned so much more. And the freaking numbers for quarter horse are phenomenal. There is not a time when I don't see a horse that is the top of the list that doesn't run well. So I mean, it's really, really good. So those are my two favorites, maidens and quarter horses. But the entire system, I mean, I've had it since the beginning. Scotty reached out to me like right when he was getting it up and running and was like, hey, I'm super excited about this, and I've been using it forever, and I've been trying to promote it. And now he told me about what's the new thing, Justin?
The race sim. The race sim.
I can't wait. I haven't seen it yet.
Oldie's going to. So let's go. We'll watch.
Can I do that on mine right now?
No. It's only in beta mode for everybody watching. But end of June, it's coming. And Oldie, feel free to. I will transition to you as we go through this.
Still feel like we need like a call to post or something when you hit the play button, but we're off.
One thing you'll notice, Rachel, here being a horse person, is the horses never change leads.
Yeah, that does kind of suck.
Bruno will be very happy to hear that.
Yeah, I chew.
Okay, I see. So this is like I love this.
And the crazy thing is very accurate. Using historical, right? It's using the AI algorithms, everything that's built upon EquinEdge, and it creates a race simulator. So, Ole, it has roses for Deborah winning, right?
Right.
I will let you. I know Rachel, you had some picks here and what you thought, but
yeah.
Top EquinEdge pick is roses for Deborah. You have a price in the Run for the Hills that looks to be running a big race. And then you have the EquinEdge long shot too. But Rachel, would be curious to hear your kind of perspective as you looked at the Intercontinental.
Yeah. So I honestly hadn't even looked at EquinEdge yet, but it's obvious. This is a little bit chalky. I always say, I love it when people are like, oh yeah, Rachel, you just pick what EquinEdge says, or you're a chalky loser, blah, blah, blah. But nobody ever says when I have like a 9-1, or I had the $74 horse today, picked third, and that was actually, somebody pointed out that EquinEdge had that as the long shot, that horse that ended up winning today for 74. I don't think it was on the EquinEdge, it was Scotty's picks, which, let's be honest, that's not shocking. So this is a little bit chalky, but I did go 6-10. I think this is sort of like a lock race. Roses for Deborah. She's had a little bit of a freshening. She put up a 99, really nice speed figure last time and won with IRAD. I haven't heard about IRAD. Somebody just told me that he might have. Did he have a spill today on the?
He's fine. He got jacked up in the gate. He had an MRI.
Oh, he did.
X-ray.
Oh, good.
His ankle's good. He'll test it out in the morning.
Okay, good. Yeah, at least he has a day until the Belmont, but he probably has a bunch. He obviously has a bunch of mounts Friday. But and then Love Reigns. I mean, I'm not gonna belabor the point. The best speed at the distance, roses for Deborah. I'm not gonna go too deep in that favorite. It's kind of obvious, but Love Reigns I like a lot. Rosario, of course. This one, it's a move up in class, but I always think like an improving horse is a dangerous horse. However, the only thing I'm worried about is this horse bounces a little bit. And she put up a top effort, but she always seems to throw in a clunker in between. However, those were really spaced out. And that also you need to take into consideration, obviously. I mean, you're spacing out these races. This was, they were in November, then April, then August. They really, really spaced them out. We're going from April right back here to June. I mean, she hasn't run that quick back. So I really, really like her. So that's my exacta. I think it's kind of a lock there. I'm a little concerned now that, my 10 is 4th pick on EquinEdge, but I do like that long shot. Jose Ortiz crushing it. He's come here and rode quite a few times, and he always does, but love seeing him come here, and this horse is super consistent. So I think that's a really nice long shot. If you get 10-1 on it, I think that would be maybe my new trifecta, 6-10-1.
All right. And I know you had some Belmont picks here as we wrap it up. What do you like there?
I went back and forth, but I'm like kind of a chalk eating weasel on this race. I on both. I hate to say it. So I'm gonna go 9-10-3, but I'm not gonna talk about those. I have 2 long shots I want to talk about. I haven't even looked. Are you guys bringing it up right now? Yeah, bring it up, because I haven't even looked I can only do so much in an hour and a half after handicapping 9 Indy races. I haven't even looked to see what EquinEdge is saying. You have it up?
Mystic Dan.
Oh, Honor Marie. Okay. 8, 9, 10. So I agree with the morning line. I handicapped it all, and then I looked down and I said, oh, man, my 2 long shots, if it rains, is 1, 9-10-3. Just because I'm just going to tell you guys the truth. I mean, you can't go against horses who run good figures at the distance. Some of these haven't ran 1.25 miles. You don't know what they're going to do. I don't think that Seize the Gray is one that you need to keep in unless we do get some rain. And then I do have a little bit of a long shot. I love that Wise Guy horse, the 10. I feel like Mind Frame, everybody's talking about. It's like the buzz horse. And I love that we have it second in the in our algorithm. But I will say there's something about the 5, and me and my friend were talking about it. Antiquarian. This one won the Peter Pan, has put up a 95, which is close, at 1 mile and 3/16. Hasn't ran this exact distance, but I think might love it, to be honest with you. And Todd Pletcher, I mean, that's just one that I think I would mix in. Where is that? This is way down in our EquinEdge. 9-10-3-1. Yeah, so everything I like is up at the top. But then the 5, I think, is like my long shot for that pick. So those are my selections. I'm a chalk eating weasel in that race as well. Don't forget to throw in the 1 if it rains.
So can I go back for a second to the Intercontinental here?
Yeah, all right.
I just want to point out one thing here. When I'm playing against chalk, I'm typically looking, why would this horse lose? And for Roses for Deborah, and I remember this also, Clement talking about this, he does not think this horse wants wet turf. I know it has a win against easier and wet turf, but it also went up to Parks on yielding turf. And for me, we're seeing the rain here. If it's good, it's probably okay. But if it's softer than good, it might be a case to downgrade Roses for Deborah, who needs to come from behind for the most part, even though
is it already
this is
raining
not
there?
the classiest field.
Rain after the races today. Yes.
Oh, man.
So we'll have to follow that one up. But I do like Roses for Deborah there. I wouldn't go against you. All these comments are pertinent. You do have to check what the conditions are in the morning. And then once they get to that, if they get some rain in there, up there or whatnot, it can draw that out somewhat. So we'll kind of to be determined. But we've got to move on, Rachel. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. We'll look to some more appearances with you in the future, potentially days when you guys
more
run.
Indy. We'll keep covering Indy. Yes.
Yeah.
We'll definitely be doing
have me on whenever. Like I told
an
you,
Indiana
Justin,
Derby special.
I gotta work. Yes, we should do an Indiana Derby.
And tell John that when he calls the races and they get into the stretch, it's okay, and they're into the stretch run.
I'll give him that critique.
Yeah,
and as well, John's like the voice of racing to me because I grew up at Arlington.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Yeah, That's awesome.
So-
Yeah, Joe, I like back in the day, I was with Joe Christopek. We hung out, went to a Bulls game, and it was closed, and I couldn't go. It's the only track around here that I haven't been to, and it closed before I could go. It's my one true regret in life.
All right, Rachel. Well, have a good rest of your week, and we will be covering your races on Saturday. So have a good one, and good luck with your picks.
Thanks, guys, so much. Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Hi, Rachel.